Hello and welcome to today's pet pairing. I'm going to start doing my makeup by applying my eyeshadow primer first. This is the Inglot Eyeshadow Keeper. And I keep staring at my eyelashes, especially the last week or so, wondering if that serum that I purchased that I talked about in my monthly roundup and empties for January is doing anything. And it may be wishful thinking, but I feel like maybe they're a little bit thicker and longer, like some of the hairs are longer. It's only been 4 weeks and theoretically you should only really start to see effects after a full-on, I don't know, 10 to 12 weeks or so. But I don't know. It's maybe one of those where I'm trying to convince that I'm seeing an effect because I really want to, but in reality, nothing's happening. I think I just need to be patient, wait it out and see whether after the 12-week mark something is happening. And after that, if I actually do see a significant difference, I need to decide if I'm going to repurchase the same lash serum or I'm going to try something that is a little bit more accessible to me. Because the one that I bought was a product recommended from Charlotte Holdcroft, who has turned into one of my favorite people to watch on YouTube. There are so few people that I still really enjoy watching, and she's definitely one of them. And I tend to trust her recommendations, and especially when it comes to lashes, the woman knows her lash business. Her eyelashes are always, they look like false eyelashes to me. I have no idea how she achieves this effect. I'm going to do my under eyes now, and one of you asked if I've ever used a color corrector. And I have not. In the past I had this concealer slash corrector from this Korean brand called Skin Food, which I really enjoyed. It had this beautiful peachy color, very emollient texture. I'm not exactly sure why I stopped using it, other than because I think I got a bit bored with it. But it was, yeah, doing a little bit of correcting slash concealing, and then I stopped using it. I started using more Western concealers because I also didn't feel like bothering trying to find out where to purchase that concealer every time. And since then I haven't really tried anything with a peachy undertone for correcting anymore, except for maybe we could argue that the Lancome Tainted Doll that I've been using has a bit of a peach undertone to it, so it does a little bit of correcting as well. I've been thinking actually about trying the Charlotte Tilbury corrector, the one that Martina always talks about. When it comes to a concealer corrector type of product, especially under eye products, I tend to take notes very diligently when Martina talks about stuff. So now on my list I have the Charlotte Tilbury corrector. I'm going to take the First Aid Beauty concealer, by the way, and I'm going to purchase the Huda concealer as soon as I find it in a shade that's suitable for me. Because after one of her, I think one of her yearly favorites videos or somewhere where she talked about that concealer again being probably the best thing she's tried in terms of a concealer, I went immediately on Cult Beauty, which is I think pretty much the only place we can get Huda Beauty here in the Netherlands. And I looked for that concealer, but there were so few shades and they were all darker shades, so then I kind of gave up on it, and I since then have decided to maybe pan a few concealer products before I go out and purchase that concealer. Well, a couple of concealer products. I want to pan this one, and then what is left in here is actually stuff that 75% of it will only work in the summer for me. So I am actually looking for a good substitute for the Bendy Avocado concealer. But one of the reasons I've never looked into a color corrector is because I've been using auric type products for a really long time now. And the thing is, when it comes to personally my under eyes, I tend to, I have two problem areas. I have a little bit of, hollowness and blue purple tones coming from my under eyes. And the bigger issue is my under eyes are extremely dry. Oh, sorry, I'm shaking my Pat McGrath concealer in Pat McGrath foundation, in case you were curious. I'm still going strong on this one. I've started to really have to struggle to get product out of it, so I think I might even be able to finish it this year, which would be amazing. It's been how many years since you were in my life now? 2019? Oh my gosh, almost 4 years. Okay, it's really time for this to go. Anyway, I was saying that the bigger problem is that my under eyes are extremely dry. So many concealers just like sort of like eat all the moisture out of my under eyes. So if I have to prioritize the issues that need to be tackled when it comes to my under eyes, I will prioritize dry skin over the blue circles all day, every day. I'd rather walk around with a little bit of my dark circles peeking through than my skin looking like parchment. So I'm always looking for hydrating products, and when I started using the Auric Glow Last, I had actually already started using similar type of products on my under eyes before, more specifically the strobe cream from MAC, because I just really enjoyed the illuminating effect and the hydrating effect. And with Auric Glow Last, that hydrating effect has gone up a few notches because the Auric product is in fact almost like half skincare. So I always enjoyed the hydrating effect and plumping effect that this product has on my under eyes, and then paired with a, you know, creamy and hydrating concealer that's not too heavy under the eyes, I always figured I don't really care so much for the dark circles. Like, I can live with a little bit of my dark circles peeking through as long as the skin under my eyes is not like bereft of all moisture, because that looks really hideous. And because I just don't like to layer too many products, like if I have to put the Auric Glow Last and then the corrector and then the concealer, that becomes a little bit of an overkill for someone who has a fairly simple and straightforward routine when it comes to their face makeup. But I am willing to give that corrector from Charlotte Tilbury a try. So I think if I ever see the shade of, or a shade from the Huda Beauty concealer that would suit me, and by the way, if you know which shade would suit me from that range already, because we have a similar skin tone and you're already using that concealer, by all means let me know. I'm going to use the Dior Backstage powder, because I wouldn't even know where to start. I think I will probably take a shade darker than what Martina is using, but I will really have to look into it. For bronzer today, let's do a little mix of the Victoria Beckham, what is this called again? Something with a brick, bronzing brick. I'm just going to mix the two colors because I don't necessarily want it to be super cool toned, more just like neutral in tone. And just to like go back to the topic of concealers really briefly, I do actually quite like the Lancome Tinted Oak concealer that I just mentioned. The problem is that I think I have one of the lightest shades. It's 01, maybe they have also an 00, but it's maybe too pink for my taste. But this is one of the lightest shades, and I can tell you for a fact, I cannot wear this right now. It will be way too dark. I can mix it in with something lighter, but that kind of unfortunately kills the effect of the finish of that concealer, and that is one of the things that I actually quite like about it. It has a demi-matte finish which doesn't really dry my under eyes, but it has a little bit of like a filter type of effect. I don't know how to explain it. And I want to say that Charlotte's been raving about a new Dior concealer, or recently there's been like a high-end concealer that she has been raving about, so I might look into that one as well, because it's yet again a brand that I can fairly easily get here in the Netherlands. For blush, I actually want to take Desert Orchid today because I want to keep it a little bit more like neutral, slightly warm leaning, because of the eye look that I'm going for. And that will be centered around that blue teal shade in the Divine Droid quad, because I feel like wearing something blue teal, because I want to match my nails, which I'm really proud of, by the way. And I would like to try actually that shade from the Divine Droid Quint, because I think I used it in my original like demo video for this collection, and I only used it on my lower lashes, and I realized I never actually used it on my lids. So I figured let's try that shade together today. Taking Venusian Nude from the latest holiday collection from Pat McGrath Labs to highlight, because I like the slightly neutral to warm leaning tones of this highlighter, and I do not mind that it's a little bit sparkly. Starting off on the eye look, I'm actually first going to dip into my beloved statuesque over here to put through my crease, and I'm still debating if I even want to like deepen the crease further besides just using statuesque. I might actually just keep it at statuesque, and if I'm really lacking depth later, I might just put a little bit of like a smoky wing liner using dark matter. And I keep going back and forth on statuesque. I've been using it quite a lot the last few days because I've been doing like really simple looks where it's really fit with the look to just use statuesque through the crease. And I've been thinking, mad woman, do you really want to be without statuesque? So I initially thought perhaps the Victoria Beckham signature quad will be a good substitute for this, but honestly this has a slightly different undertone to it. It serves a slightly different function in my collection because the signature quad from Victoria Beckham is really lovely, but it is so much more like neutral toned. I can mix shades in there, I can create like different depths of what I put through my crease. The formula is phenomenal, but the matter of fact remains that this just has a different tone to it, and sometimes it just really fits with the looks that I do, especially with my Pat McGrath looks. And it is easy to take along if I'm traveling, so it might be that Lydia, my friend, I am going to bother you with sending your statuesque shade my way. I haven't actually looked if Pat McGrath has restocked it. I actually doubt it. I don't really think we're going to see these idols being restocked much. So I'm a little bit bummed out that they cancelled my backup statuesque. But since Lydia was so generous to offer hers, I think I might hit you up on the DM. I don't know if you can see like the indentation in this eyeshadow. I'm just waiting to hit pan on it, like massive pan on it, any day now. And I'm always going in with like huge fluffy brushes like this, so it's not like just like a tiny little dot of a dent will be there. No, it will be like all of a sudden a massive dent. And I don't know that I'm ready to part ways with my statuesque eyeshadow. So next I'm going to take a little bit of glitter glue. I think for now I'm not actually going to put any extra depth. I think I'm just going to go in immediately with the blue eyeshadow, but first I'm going to apply the tiniest bit of glitter glue so that shade applies more foiled. And now I'm going to take my favorite flat shader brush. This is from M Brush by Maxineshka, an incredibly uniquely shaped brush that I regret not having a backup of. I might have to go back on the website to see if they still have this brush and this brand, because I would like to get a backup of this brush. Nothing really works better with my metallic, like favorite metallic formulas than this brush. So I'm going to take this beautiful blue shade now and apply it all over my lid. And just a spoiler alert, I am going to once again put the lime green in my inner corners, and yes, you're going to see that lime green in my inner corners a lot, especially now with the spring and summer coming. Brace yourselves. But yeah, I was talking about this like shader brush, which I absolutely love. I have nothing in my collection from other brands, not the MAC 239 or the MAC 239 alikes, nothing from Sonia G that is this specific brush. This brush is very thin, and the bristles are again somewhat like layered, and for whatever reason I'm just not very versed in my like Fude brush, you know, descriptions. This brush just works really well with metallic and glittery formulas. It picks them up, it applies them really well, it shears them out to show off the sparkle. I don't know what to tell you. An absolutely amazing brush. So I might actually go on the website and see if these two brushes are still in stock, because they're my favorite from Maxineshka, to get me some backups of those. Because after having tried quite a few other brands and having, you know, experienced these two shapes and sizes, I don't think any other brand offers them that is like easily accessible to me. I've looked a lot into Sonia's range for similar brushes, but she doesn't have anything that is quite like this specific, like huge, fluffy, again, and again very tapered brush. And the same goes for this shader brush. Nothing else is quite like it. I'm going to take the lime green shade now and apply that into my inner corners, and then we're going to sparkle it up. I just love this lime green shade so much. It makes me so happy. Next thing, and you might have already guessed it since you've seen the eyeshadow palette in my thumbnail, we are going to apply a little bit of a blitz stopper over that blue shade from the Divine Droid Queen, because we need to go into, I want to say this is called Blitz Aquamarine. Yes, Blitz Aquamarine, which again has a huge indentation in it because it is one of my absolute most beloved eyeshadows to use in the summer, because I want to add a little bit of like extra sparkle to the shade from the Divine Droid Queen, and I think the tones of these two eyeshadows just fit perfectly with each other. I just love Nocturnal Nirvana, and I saw it recently being back in stock actually. No idea where she pulls these like out of her sleeve, because they were sold out and I was under the impression that all the stocks were depleted, but every now and then some of them pop back up. Like Ritualistic Rose was even like a gift with purchase very recently, like lucky you who got it as a gift with purchase. But yeah, it was recently back in stock, so not all hope is lost that if you don't have it, you will never be able to get it. You will. I am going to quickly complete the lower lash line with Statuesque, and then I'm going to think hard and deep, but for not too long, because I need to get going to work very soon, if I want to wing a little bit of a liner or I can't be bothered. I'm leaning towards can't be bothered and just apply a generous coat of mascara to test run my new, you know, serum treated eyelashes. Can't talk. And just blow out Statuesque a little bit for like a smoky, nice smoky look. So this is the final look paired with a little bit of like a peachy lip and a gloss. I chose for a negligee from Pat McGrath, but honestly I think a fair from Lisa Eldridge would have looked absolutely bomb with that look as well. I was just feeling like negligee, and I also wanted to apply a tiny bit of gloss because I've been missing using my Pat McGrath glosses. I haven't really been using them as much as I have in previous years. So I went for Gold Allure because it has a little bit of like those warmish gold sparkles, and I think it fits the rest of the look quite nicely. And it's also going to be very nice and moisturizing on my lips throughout the rest of this very intense day that awaits me. Also, as I was doing my lashes, I realized that I rambled about, you know, getting a potential substitute for the lash serum that I bought now that was, you know, recommended by Charlotte Holdcroft, but I never really mentioned what the issue was. In case you don't remember it, the lash serum that I bought is from a UK-based brand, Glow For It something. I can't remember the exact name right now, but it is based in the UK, which means that as a European Union citizen now I have to pay 21% VAT. So I was actually planning on just looking at the ingredients list and then comparing it to the ingredient list of similar products that are offered, I don't know, on Douglas or Look Fantastic, just things that are a little bit more easily accessible to me, and potentially substituting that. Although if that serum really does turn out to be working, do I really want to stray from something that works? Because like if it ain't broke, why fix it? But you know, I still have to think about it, and it's all pending on whether my lashes actually are experiencing some sort of a positive effect. To be honest, I think they are. I feel like there are a couple of fellas here which used to be a lot like shorter and stubbier, and now I have a couple of lash hairs here that have grown to quite the remarkable length, so maybe that serum is actually doing something. I don't know. If you have any observations on that, please let me know. Do let me know how you enjoyed this look. As usual, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!